Yo, what's going on, everyone? Brian and Jim here with Drink a Beer and Play a Game, and welcome to probably one of our longest podcast topics to date.
Yeah, so instead of going through separate reviews for all the NES soccer games, we figured we'd give quick little mini review snippets for all of them. Let you know how we feel about them, give you a little preview for what you can find written on the website.
Yeah, like Jim just mentioned, we obviously did the best and worst videos, which you can find below, but here's our brief overview of all the NES titles. Starting us off is Soccer. Now this, for me personally, is the quintessential when you just want to sit down with a buddy and have quick soccer fun. It offers what most early NES black box game offered, and it's kind of mindless. Sure, it's a little sluggish and there's not a ton of options, but there is fun to be had with this one. And it's one that I, after playing a second time, appreciate a little bit more.
Yeah, not much more I can add. It's simple, it's fun. It kind of reminds me of ice hockey almost in some of its control scheme options. Not as deep with the different lineups, but it's still a goofy little time waster. So yeah, I think it's definitely above average and probably one of the better black box games too.
So, we actually ended up giving that one a 6.
Hooray!
Above average for us. Alright, so next we're looking over Goal.
Oi!
So if you watched our previous video, the worst NES soccer game, Goal 2 made that list. Well, this is the predecessor, and just take a look at it. We hate the isometric view, and I'm sure most of you have heard us say that, but this game looks like shit, and even worse, as you're playing, you have this weird jittery clunkiness. It's hard to explain. You might be able to see it through this gameplay footage, but playing it yourself, you'll know exactly what we're talking about. I could not stand this friggin' game.
Yeah, the game just... Oh God, it's just so chunky, I want to say, with how it plays. It feels like an actual soccer simulation type game, and it gives you a shit ton of gameplay options. But it's just hampered by an experience that just isn't really that fun. The games can be intense, but it's also one of those weird games where it'll subliminally make you mash the D-pad. So within 3 to 5 minutes of gameplay, your thumb's going to be killing you. And getting through a full game can be kind of a chore. Maybe that was just us, but we both experienced it separately on our own.
Yeah, so when it comes to score, it got a 5.5 from us. Jim actually enjoyed this game a hell of a lot more than I did.
Yup.
But it's still better than Goal 2 because that game had its own problems. Moving on to Goal 2, we already made the video. I think you guys probably saw how Jim and I felt. It offered a better presentation, but with it offered a better presentation, but because of that goddamn camera zoom in and out, the gameplay suffered a lot in both our eyes.
Which really sucks because it probably had the smoothest gameplay of any NES soccer game.
Yeah, so that one was as average could be, just got a 5 from us. Next up is Ultimate League Soccer, and to me, this is kind of like an update of the original soccer title with a lot more options. You have breakdowns of teams, you have formations you can set, and each country plays a hell of a lot differently. I actually really enjoyed this one. If we were going from just a pure soccer-only stance, this probably would have been my choice for best, but it didn't offer as much fun as some of the other games. And one of the things that killed it for me is the game-breaking mechanics of if you stand in a certain place and shoot, kind of like the double dribble 3-point shot, you're almost always going to score a goal. So that kind of ruined it for me.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun with it, but like you, the brokenness kind of kept me from putting it as a top game because the game runs, I could run a little faster, I guess. It's a little sluggish, but the games were intense, and it's probably the easiest game to score in, so you're going to have some high-scoring affairs, and it can actually be fun and really exciting. It's just a little too limited and a little too abusable.
Yeah, so it actually got a 6 from us. Like I said, we had fun with it, but we recognize its flaws. Still above average, and if you're a soccer fan, it's actually worth your time. You should probably check it out.
Yeah, if you find it for a couple of bucks, it's definitely worth it.
Next up, the Nintendo World Cup.
Yay!
Well, it's our favorite, and to us, it's the best NES soccer game. that's really a soccer game. I keep caveating that for a specific reason.
And even then, this is still different than most normal soccer games.
Yeah, most hardcore soccer fans will think this is not a real soccer game, but there's a lot of fun to be had. And like we said in the video, has that Kunio-kun style, and it's very arcadey. And if you've seen our top 10 favorite basketball games, we picked our Tribals because it adds in some goofy things that you can do that help break up the monotony of just a simulated sports game. So,
yeah, I don't really have too much to add. We already did our review for it. It's just a fun game.
Yeah, so that got a 6.4 from us. But now on to the big son of a bitch.
Yeah, where the hell did this come from?
Tecmo Cup Soccer.
You hear Tecmo with a sports game, you're like, oh, well, this will probably be the best one.
Yeah, and from a score standpoint, it is. This game is so goddamn unique. It has amazing graphics and sound, but there's one kind of problem. It's an RPG. So all your players have specific stats such as the guts, dribble, pass, and shoot, and you go into these little, I don't even know what the hell you would call these.
It's turn-based.
Yeah, it's like turn-based, but you do technically control the player when you're running down the field, and then you just choose, do you pass, do you shoot, or do you try and dribble past them? It's an odd-ass game, and it's one that we can't do justice, obviously, by talking this much. This was our truly favorite game, but there's no way we could consider this a soccer game.
Yeah, it's probably one we could have easily done an actual video on, but we can't keep doing these sports games all the time.
Yeah, the story is crazy, and in between each cutscene, like, you have this little love meter where someone keeps encouraging you. You have memos between the games, and you have the cute little announcers that say stuff as the ball is going forward. It's an experience unto itself, and it's a game we really recommend. Whether you're a soccer fan or not, you're probably going to get some mild enjoyment out of this. But I'll be honest, after playing a few games, you're going to keep seeing the same shit over and over, and it may get a little bit tiring.
Yeah, the gimmick and the charm's still there, but the freshness of it will kind of wear off. And it doesn't really have the, I guess, deepness that a true RPG has to keep you interested in it. So, who knows, maybe you get into the story and want to see it end, but I don't know, man, this is just a weird one. What it does well, but wow.
Yeah, and in general, like Jim mentioned already, Tecmo, I mean, they're easily the kings of the NES sports games.
At least football-wise.
Yeah, football for sure, and as you saw, like, basketball, that was okay, but it had a lot of flaws. Baseball was... They just make really interesting choices, and I'm actually kind of glad they don't kind of keep a certain format across all the boards. Like, the fact that this is a fucking RPG, it made us laugh, and you know what? Like I said, we had a lot of fun, and I won't lie, we were kind of drunk by the time we got to this one.
Oh, yeah.
But it's still, it's unique as shit. So this one actually got a 7.5 from us. A lot of that score is just the sheer presentation. We technically had to give the control a 10 because that's kind of what you have to give an RPG.
It was just all menus.
Yeah. So there's really nothing wrong with this game other than the fact that it could get repetitive.
And if you want a straight-up soccer game, this is not the game for you.
Yeah. So, let us know what you think, guys. We just wanted to give this brief overview. We're going to do this for the other sports genres we're covering. But, yeah. Let us know if you like this format. Here's a quick lineup of all the games side by side with all of our scores. Let us know if you agree, if you think we're idiots, if you're a hardcore soccer fan and you can't believe we picked what we picked.
Yeah, the sports games tend to get real visceral responses from people.
Yeah.
People love their fucking 8-bit sports games. Jesus Christ.
And we're always amused when we piss people off, so.
Oh, yeah.
Hope you enjoyed it, guys. Come back next week for the next sports titles.
And Trolls, we'll see you soon. Cheers.
Cheers.